What is going on? It is the Obscurist tourist. Yes, it is I, the one and only. And today, I come to you from Goldfield. A really, really cool, I'm reluctant to say ghost town, but for all intents and purposes, it is a ghost town right here in Nevada. So I'm going to show you around. Lots of cool things to see. And in case you're wondering, no, I'm not actually this big. These are just miniature little buildings of the town. I don't know why, but all part of the charm, really. Goldfield was founded in 1902 and named for deposits of gold discovered near the original town site. The town was booming in the first decade of the 20th century when, what else? Gold was discovered. In fact, Goldfield reached a peak population of around 20,000 people in 1906. Notably, Wyatt and Virgil Earp moved to Goldfield in 1904, with Virgil being hired as the town's deputy sheriff in January 1905. The Earp stay in Goldfield, however, was short-lived, with Virgil dying of pneumonia less than a year after his arrival, and Wyatt leaving town following his brother's death. Despite Goldfield's quick rise, its fall was even quicker. By 1910, the town saw its population drop from 20,000 to just 4,838, an astounding reduction of almost 16,000 people in just 4 short years. Though the mines produced millions in gold, increasing costs made the mines ultimately uneconomic. To make matters worse, a fire caused by a moonshine still explosion in 1923 destroyed much of the town, with Goldfield's flammable buildings all going up in flames. Despite being gutted, several buildings survived and remain today, notably the Goldfield Hotel, the Consolidated Mines Building, and the old schoolhouse. Though gold exploration continues in and around the town today, the population of Goldfield has continued to decline throughout the 20th century and dropped to just 275 people by 1950. Today, there are about 400 people living in this once glorious town. So if you're driving into Goldfield from the north end, you'll notice the old Goldfield Cemetery. So I'm going to show you around this graveyard before heading on into town and showing you around. There are actually 2 different cemeteries here. First one, and then further out into the desert is the old Goldfield Pioneer Cemetery, filled with many of the town's first settlers and visitors. It's this cemetery that is of greater interest to me, if not for the odd and somewhat straightforward inscriptions on headstones. The Goldfield Cemetery was originally located in the center of town, but as the population exploded in the early 1900s, the remains in this local burial ground was relocated. After all, the railroad company, which I'll show you later, didn't want passengers stepping off the train and onto graves. Known as the official ghouls, kind of a cool name, this group of men dug up the remains in the middle of the night and moved them to the modern-day site here on the edge of town. Interesting, you can see just how far away it is from the main cemetery here, this Pioneer Cemetery. There is a pathway, though not immediately recognizable from over there. Took me a little while to find it, and just look at all these old rudimentary tombstones. Literally, nothing more than white stones with very simple etchings. Very, very interesting. Look at this. Martin Rower, killed in 1908 by a gunshot wound Interesting that it notes he was shot by the deputy sheriff. This was the very role Virgil Earp held 3 years earlier. Indian Molly died in 1908 as well. Ed Garn, killed by a gunshot in 1911. So much violence back in those days. Another death by gunshot here. This one in 1910. And a little hard to read. I believe the last name reads Nugent. I wonder if there's any relation to the Nuge himself, Ted Nugent. W.E. Myers died in 1909. No cause of death given, but does know where this person died. The Esmeralda Hotel, which I believe is one of the buildings that was destroyed in the 1923 fire. These are so interesting because they simply could have left these graves unmarked, but instead have chosen to make a point of it being an unknown man. And here's another unknown man, a little further down the line. Now, this is the ultimate find and the grave that actually led me to explore this cemetery in the first place. It's the infamous gravestone that simply reads, "Unknown man died eating library paste." And it's dated July 14, 1908. What an absolutely wild and preposterous way to die. I guess at that time, if a bullet didn't kill you, going to the local library would. Such a crazy time to have been alive or dead. So when I say I've never been here before, I've kind of lied about that. I actually passed through Goldfield about a year ago en route to Tonopah. On the other end of town, the opposite side of where the Goldfield Cemetery is, there's an art installation called the International Car Forest of the Last Church, kind of a handful. It's a much grander version of Cadillac Ranch on Route 66. Anyway, I stopped there to explore, but never actually stopped in Goldfield proper. I just kind of drove right on through, and I remember thinking at the time, man, this seems like a really cool place. I should have stopped, so here I am. You can see how ominous this town really is. It feels like an abandoned town. I've yet to see a single person on the streets here, despite this being a main street, if not the main street, and it being around 10 in the morning. Just wild. I just came across this cutout donkey here on the main strip, and on the back, it asks you to sign its ass. Pretty odd, but I'm all about the jackassery of weird things like this. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna sign this little guy's butt right here. Why not? Give it a big one. No one will forget me now. Hey, buddy. What you drinking there? What is that? Atomic Duck IPA. Yeah, it's that good, huh? Lots of really neat things on display here. And who's this? Just hanging out inside of a telephone booth. Another thing I've really noticed about Goldfield are the various old police cars they have for sale. You'll see them on every corner, just sitting empty. Back there, right behind this police car, is an old fire truck. So yeah, I've been fooled a few times thinking that there's a cop hiding out, but as I approach, I realize it's just empty, and it's a police car no longer in service. All these old signs. Watch that speed limit. The speed limit here in Goldfield, like in Tonopah, is actually 25 miles an hour. And look who's peeking out over there. Exactly like I said before. There's another old police car just sitting there for sale. So bizarre. I absolutely adore these old desert towns and all the weird characters that stick around, as well as the personality a place like Goldfield ultimately takes on. Just look at all this old, bizarre stuff. A collection of misfit things. Look at me. I'm like a giant right here in Goldfield. I'm like a monster. Got the Red Rose Saloon, Sheriff's Office. You may not have visited Goldfield before, but chances are, if you've heard of Goldfield, you've heard of this place. This is the old Goldfield Hotel, a classic hotel here in downtown Goldfield. This hotel is also rumored to be one of the most haunted places in America. It is currently for sale. It has been abandoned for quite a few years. I'm not sure how long it has been for sale, but there it is. You can see right there they are looking to refurbish it. I really hope they do. Let's see if we can get a look inside. There it is. Looks absolutely amazing. Apparently you can actually get tours in here, and I kind of missed the boat on that. So next time I'm through, I'm a little short on time. And this is the person that you can contact for Goldfield Hotel tours. Heather, right there. Another view inside. Unfortunately, this is the best I can do, but there it is. Some really, really cool old buildings here. Really feels like you are in a living ghost town. Just across the street is the historic Goldfield High School, one of the buildings that survived the Great Fire of 1923, and a destination for ghost hunters from all over the world, as it's known for paranormal activity. And a better look at the old Goldfield High School, I'd get an even closer look usually, but there are some repairs being made to the building currently. Now abandoned, this high school was built in 1907, and as I said, this was one of a handful of buildings that survived the 1923 fire. The old Goldfield Town Square, whole lot of nothing in there except for, I don't know if you can see over there, lots of burro poop. Town Square for burro, I guess. Another building that survived the big fire is this place, the courthouse. Like the school, this building was also built in 1907. Let's head on inside. So one of the most interesting things about this is that this courthouse is still in use. You can get your hands on a marriage license, pay a ticket, or even renew your driver's license here. Absolutely wild that it's a living, breathing museum. Another really interesting sight, as I show you around, is that much of the furniture here is original to the courthouse. Tiffany & Co. lamps, a real jail out back, and the original courtroom, which is still in use today, all here on site. Interesting sign right outside the bathroom door here in the old courthouse. Found like a little ghost town within a ghost town over here, just off the beaten path. And also, look who I see over here. It's like a little baby burro and its mama. How cute is that? Hey, little guys. Can I come say hello? I don't think these burro are as used to human interaction as the ones in Oatman are, so, you know, I would love to go say hi and give them a pet, but I don't think they want that. Clearly there are lots of burrow around because you can see all the burrow poop just everywhere. They don't want anything to do with me. Bye, guys. So I left the main street and was directed to the old train station by a lovely woman named Sharon in town. Some old buildings here, not really sure if they are abandoned or inhabited. And as with all things desert, it is really difficult to guess the age of things due to the dry climate. This is really neat. Right here at the abandoned rail station, it's the Santa Fe Saloon, established in 1905. And just look at the views from here. The surrounding mountains of Goldfield are just so majestic. And if you look real close, you can even see the tailings from the old mines on the right, there in the distance. Who's running away from me? Look at that. It's another burrow. Love this town. See you later, buddy. Just love the old street signs here. Not made of metal at all, just pure wood. The way they were made back in the day. Very, very cool. I'm at the corner, if you haven't seen it already, of Aluminum and 5th. This is the old Bullfrog Goldfield Railroad, so take a look around here. Lots of old equipment. From what I can gather, it is not a museum. It's just here for anyone to come see. Very, very cool. Just look at how cool this is. This is the old steam engine and rail cars right behind, serving Tonopah and Goldfield. See if we can take a peek inside one of these rail cars. You can just see by the wood just how old this is. Can't really see in there too deep, but doesn't look like there's anything really worth seeing in there. Smells amazing though. Smells very, very old. Love that old wood smell. Definitely pushing over a century. Found this old car here sitting behind the rail cars, and something really cool here. I don't know if you can see that in the windshield. Look at that. These are old bullet holes. Someone shot this up. Windshield's pretty strong because none of them penetrated. Very, very neat. And this probably would have served as the main train station administrative building or something. I don't know. Perhaps I'm just making things up. Lots of old machinery around here. Head over there next. Just look at all this stuff just sitting here. Absolutely amazing. Listen, I've seen a lot of ghost towns. I have never quite seen anything like this. It is quite amazing, really. Something else really cool is all of these old homesteader cabins sitting abandoned here just outside of the train station. Again, never quite seen anything like this. It's very, very unique. Again, more abandoned cabins out here. Just look at this. And I noticed another old rail car just sitting right over there. This is so cool. And as I was going around back here, I noticed, look at this. Old baking sheets, tins, old bottles. These are all original. Not hundreds, but you know, century old, at least, some of this stuff. This old gas can, oil can. Very, very cool. Love finding this stuff out in the wild. This is absolutely amazing. Look at all these old car parts just sitting here. Old fenders, grills. Unbelievable, really. Look at this. Just sitting out here, baking in the Nevada sun. And I actually started to wonder if someone was living on this property here, perhaps in those houses there, but no, I walked around them completely empty. Love that they trust tourists enough to be here on our own without causing any problems, but the kind of tourists that would come here to cause problems aren't coming here. They're back in Vegas. Very, very appreciative of the townsfolk here for, listen, trusting a guy like me, crazy Canadian, out here in the Nevada desert. Another old vehicle here looks like a Ford Model AA truck from the 1930s. Look at this thing. And look at this old house. You can see the old wash basin right there on the porch. But nobody lives here. Completely abandoned. Absolutely love this little homesteader's house here. This is what dreams are made of. Retire here. Well, I don't know if I could live this remotely, but rustic, real, authentic ghost town vibes right here in Goldfield. Very, very cool. You can see the burrow. Lots of burrow around here. Look at that little guy. So cute. That's adorable. Something crazy that that little fire alarm thing is something that goes off every day here just to let you know that it is 12 o'clock noon. Quite alerting and alarming, really. Just heading on out of town, but I had to stop. Saw more forgotten old cars out back of this abandoned Shell station on the main strip here in town. So interesting to think that over 20,000 people once lived in this town, and just goes to show how quickly a mining town can go from boom to bust, almost in the blink of an eye. So there is a whole lot of nothing between Goldfield and my next stop, which I believe is another ghost town called Gold Point, about an hour drive from here. So this might actually be the last stop, my last chance to eat. And what better place to grab a road snack than here? The Dinky Diner, of course. Brilliant. I really hope you enjoyed my visit to Goldfield, Nevada. A beautiful little spot right here on the way to Tonopah and eventually Reno. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere, north of, probably about 3 hours north of Las Vegas. So it's a trek. Like I said, I have traversed Nevada many times and I've never seen it. So first for me, perhaps first for you, but definitely worth a little visit if you're in the neighborhood. Very cool. For now, it is the Obscurist tourist saying so long, take care of yourselves, stay beautiful, and until our next adventure. See you later.